If you've been cooking very long at all, you know that sometimes you have to improvise when you don't have the right ingredients. So today, I'm going to be cooking an Italian pasta casserole. It's going to have just a little bit of a twist to it, but I believe it's going to turn out all right. You guys come on and join me, and we're going to get started.
All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take 3 cups of the penne pasta, and I've got some water boiling over here, and I'm going to cook that according to directions. So I'll go ahead and get that in that water and get it to cooking. All right, so I've got an iron skillet here that's preheated, slightly oiled, and I'm going to add 1 pound of ground beef and 1 pound of sweet Italian ground sausage. And I'm going to start browning that up. Go ahead and I'll get that cooked, and then I'll drain the grease out of that.
All right, so I've got the meat cooked and drained. So now I've taken just a very small onion and diced it up into small pieces. I'm going to add that to that meat, and I'm going to let that cook in that meat for probably about 5 minutes or so. I'll just stir it around in there, and we'll soften that onion up just a little bit. I let those onions cook for about 5 minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and add 2 cloves of freshly minced garlic. And we're just going to stir that in to that meat mixture. Probably go ahead and cook that for about 2 additional minutes. All right, so now I want to add 2 pretty good sized spoonfuls of tomato paste. And 2 cans of diced tomatoes. They're fire roasted tomatoes in the juice. I want juice and all, so we're going to pour both cans in there. And we'll go ahead and stir that around and get all that blended in well. I've got those tomatoes blended in well, so now I'm going to go ahead and add 3/4 teaspoon of Italian seasoning, a 1/2 teaspoon of chili powder, a 1/4 teaspoon of dry oregano, an 1/8 teaspoon of garlic powder, an 1/8 teaspoon of dried thyme, an 1/8 teaspoon of black pepper, just a little bit of salt to taste. Now we're going to go ahead and just stir all those seasonings in and give it about 5 additional minutes of cooking just to kind of blend those flavors. All right, so now what I've done is I've taken some pepperonis, probably about that much. I don't know, maybe a couple ounces worth. And I'm going to add to that meat mixture. I'm just going to try to separate them and throw them in there. And then we're just going to stir that around and try to get those blended in and give them a couple minutes just to kind of warm up in that mixture. Just about like that. And we'll take our spoon and we'll just kind of start mixing that around a little bit. I've got those pepperonis mixed in, so now what I'm going to do is I've taken my pasta and went ahead and drained it. And I'm going to add that to that mix. And we're just basically going to stir all this together in that pan and get it all blended well. I've got all that blended well, so now I'm going to take my Dutch oven and I'm going to lightly grease it. I'm going to give it about 3 squirts of some olive oil. And what I want to do now is I want to take half of this mixture and put down in there. And then we're going to put some cheese over the top of that. We're going to go ahead and start adding half of that mixture to the bottom of our pan there. Kind of spread that out just a little bit. Now, this recipe calls for mozzarella cheese. I went to the grocery store to get some, and they were out. So, guess what? we're going to use what we got, and that's cheddar cheese. So I'm going to add about 2 big handfuls. I'm going to say that's probably about a cup and a half of cheese. Then we're going to go ahead and we're going to put the rest of our mixture right on top of that. We've got the rest of that mixture on there, so I'm going to go back over the top of it with some more cheese. I've got that cheese spread out, so now the last thing we're going to do is we're going to bring some pepperonis back in here. And we're just going to start going over the top of that. If you guys have never cooked with a Dutch oven, you are missing out. You can cook so many things in a Dutch oven. Soups, chilies, stews, just about whatever you want to cook in it. They're oven safe. They're really good to cook in. This kind of almost looks like a pizza. I appreciate you guys watching. Thanks so much for all your support. You guys have been great. I enjoy making these videos for y'all to watch. Be sure and hit that follow button if you're not following me yet. I've got plenty of recipes to come. They're going to be delicious. All right, that looks pretty good. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put the lid on that. We're going to cook that in the oven at 350 degrees for about 30 minutes. So I'll go ahead and get the lid on there and get that to cooking. Oh, we just took it out of the oven, guys. Let's take a look at it. Wow. That looks good. Let's go ahead and get some of this in the bowl. Yes, sir. Now that looks good. And I think we're going to go ahead and add us a piece of garlic bread. I'm going to tell you what, I'm going to enjoy eating that. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. I appreciate it. If you don't mind, like, repost my videos. Follow me for more delicious recipes. I'll have plenty. God bless.